How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Out of Bounds. I am your host, James Skrmetta. Thank you for tuning in. A holiday week approaches slowly, but we still pump out the episodes. We still pump out the content like no one else. On Monday episode, another week of sports behind us, another week of college football, another week of the NFL. MLS is back. 2 playoff games. We're getting close to the finale of the MLS season. We have a packed show, a lot to talk about, like usual on Mondays. We have my new top 5 in college football with some big changes after a couple of big losses. We have my new, or I guess not new, but my winners, what happened. I guess my new standings of winners. We will talk SEC football. We'll talk Ohio State. We'll talk the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk it all. We're going to talk it all. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we do, though, like usual, a little house cleaning. Don't forget, the show is now available. We have partnered with Stitcher. It's an app, Stitcher app. It's a new radio app. It's a hosting site for podcasts. Like Bill Simmons' podcast is on there. Mark Maron's podcast is on there. Nerdist podcast is on there. It's not like iTunes where you just put in a podcast and you automatically get the site. You have to do an application process. It depends on your website. It depends on how active you are. It depends on your followers who listen. So we were accepted last week, and our shows are now available on the Stitcher app. So download it, and that would be a very easy way to listen to the show. You just download Stitcher and listen through that. Also, if you want to see a video version of the show or simulcast, I'm guessing I'm the only person pumping out content like this, audio and simulcast. But that is on YouTube. Go search James Skrmetta, and you will find us in our glory. Now, let's go ahead and get started here. Enough of the chit-chat. College football's nuts. College football's crazy this year. It is absolutely insane. People are dropping like flies. One-loss teams are running the show. Undefeated teams are getting snubbed. Then undefeated teams get recognition. Then they lose. Then teams who have backup quarterbacks keep winning. And it's hard to keep up with. It really is. I mean, it's crazy what's going on in college football. Ohio State, defending champs, haven't lost in 25 games. Have not looked good all year, let's be honest. Have had a lot of off-field problems. And they get beat by Michigan State. Then, Oklahoma State, undefeated Oklahoma State. People were saying, hey man, give them some credit. People like me. They got airtime on this show, they went and blew it. They lose to Baylor, who got dominated at home by Oklahoma. And then Baylor turns around and beats Oklahoma State with their quarterback getting injured. It's nuts. You can't keep up with it. So here we go. We're going to start the show with my top 5. From last week, we had Clemson 1, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma State and Ohio State lost, so we're going to eliminate those two. So the new and improved top 5. Number 1 stays the same, Clemson. They keep winning. You put a team number 1, they keep winning. I like their head coach. I like their quarterback. Deshaun Watson's a good player. They're playing the way that a number 1 team at this stage of the season should play. I'm not expecting them to go out there and dominate every single game. I'm not expecting them to go out there and beat every team by 40 points. But you've got to win the close games. You've got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and they do that. Number 2 is Alabama. They are dominant right now. They're probably the safest pick if you're trying to pick a champion. Their defense is good. Their front 7 is better than anyone in the nation. And as long as Coker can play decent and Derrick Henry can keep playing at a Heisman level, then they'll be all right. Number 3, I've moved Oklahoma up to number 3. You know how I roll. If 3 and 4 lose, and 5 will jump. I think Oklahoma's playing really good right now. They snuck one out against TCU, which was a good team. And they beat TCU and Baylor in back-to-back weeks, which is not easy. So if Oklahoma can finish the season with 1 loss, then they should be okay for the playoffs. And they should be deserving of the playoffs. I think that Baker Mayfield is probably the best quarterback in the nation right now. Maybe the best player in the nation. And I love Oklahoma right now. I think they're really good. I talked last week about how they were better than Notre Dame. And I got to keep backing them. They have my backing now, which is more important than anything the AP says. Number 4. All right, Notre Dame. All right. Okay. You're in. You're in. You're in. You said it, okay? I'm no longer in purgatory. I'm no longer down in hellfire and brimstone or ice and glaciers, whatever you believe. Notre Dame is in the playoffs. I had them at number 4. I don't like it. Their schedule is suspect. Barely beat Boston College. Barely beat Northwestern. 1 loss to Clemson, which is a hell of a loss. All right, Notre Dame, you're in. Number 5, I still snubbed Iowa, though. Still snubbed Iowa. We're not making a full face turn. All right, I let Notre Dame in. I'm not letting Notre Dame and Iowa in. Iowa's still not in. Number 5, back in the top 5, Michigan State. Michigan State's resume is strong. Stupid strong. Okay, with the win against Ohio State, they've beaten Ohio State, Oregon, and at Michigan. That's not too shabby. And I don't think Connor Cook is healthy, the Michigan State quarterback. I don't think he's healthy at all. If he was healthy, this is a really good team. And they're going to end up playing Iowa more than likely for the Big Ten championship. So we'll see. And if they beat Iowa, I mean, you're talking about beating Oregon, who at the time was thought to be a top 5 team. Michigan, at Michigan, who when they beat Michigan was thought to be a top 5 team. Ohio State, who was thought to be a top 5 team. And then Iowa in the Big Ten championship. So Michigan State is my 5th team. Now let's talk about Iowa real quick. Because the AP poll has 1 Clemson, 2 Bama, 3 Iowa, 4 Notre Dame, 5 Oklahoma, 6 Michigan State. So I told you Michigan State's wins, right? I told you Ohio State, told you Oregon, told you at Michigan. Huge, huge, huge wins. Yes, they probably shouldn't have beat Michigan. I agree. But they did beat Michigan. So what's the matter? It doesn't matter how it got there. This is Iowa's schedule. They're obviously all wins because they are undefeated. Illinois State, Iowa State, Pittsburgh, North Texas, Wisconsin, Illinois, Northwestern, Maryland, Indiana, Minnesota, Purdue. Their next game is against Nebraska. That, honest to God, may be the easiest schedule in college football. They are not playing. Wisconsin is the only team that's relatively above average, I guess, and they're right at the cusp of a top 25 team. Right at the cusp. Northwestern is the second best team they played, and Northwestern is they're no Michigan, or no Ohio State. So I don't understand how Iowa, just because they're undefeated, why are they number 3? The only possible way I'm putting Iowa in my top 5 or my top 4 or my playoffs is if they win the Big Ten undefeated. Because then it's like, well, they did everything they could. They won their conference. They can't determine if teams are good or not. And, they didn't know that. I mean, these teams are awful, but they didn't know these teams are going to be this bad, I guess. So they win the Big Ten. They beat Michigan State in the title game. Fine. Put them in the playoffs. Even though we will have a conversation on this show, if Iowa goes undefeated, wins the Big Ten, and Oklahoma or Notre Dame is on the bubble with Iowa, I'm putting Notre Dame, 1-loss Notre Dame and a 1-loss Oklahoma, both above an undefeated Iowa in my playoffs. And you may disagree. That's fine. You may say, what else can a team do in a big conference than go undefeated? And it's just kind of how it fell. They don't play any of the Big Ten teams. Ohio State, Michigan, any of these teams. This schedule is out of control easy. We're talking like mind-numbingly easy. So for Iowa to sneak into my playoffs, they got to do a number on Michigan State in the Big Ten championship, and I still don't think they get in. If they're battling with Notre Dame or Oklahoma, I just don't think they're that good. I do not think Iowa is that good. I just don't think they beat these other teams, the teams that are in the top 10. Honestly, I think North Carolina would beat Iowa. That's just me. I don't think Iowa's that good of a team. In my top 5, not going to happen. And then you have Tuesday, you know we love them here at the Out of Bounds podcast. You know we love the College Football Playoff Ranking Committee. So Tuesday, they'll come out there on their show, and we'll get to hear how high Iowa is. I'm guessing there'll be 3. I think 1 will be Clemson, 2 will be Bama. I think 3 will be Iowa. 4 probably be Notre Dame. If I had to guess, that's what. Actually, I take that back. 3 is going to be Notre Dame. 4 is going to be Iowa. Write that down. Here's my prediction for the College Football Playoff Ranking Committee: 1, Clemson; 2, Bama; 3, Notre Dame; 4, Iowa. That's going to be your college football playoffs as far as a committee goes. But not here. Not here. Iowa doesn't get off that easy. Let's do the minute. We haven't done the minute in a while. The playoffs, the MLS playoffs are kicking, well, they're far past kicking off. They're almost done. There's 4 teams and 2 matches remaining. The Western and Eastern Conference Championships are officially underway. The way it works is they play 2 legs. They play at each person's place, and then they combine the scores, and whoever has the better score wins. Away goals count for more, but that's technical. We won't get into that here today. The first leg was played. So let's go ahead and play the music. Go ahead and cue up the MLS Minute music. This will be a short one. It's only 2 matches. So go ahead and play the music. Thank you. Thank you, sir. The way it works is they play at each place, home and away, right? First match, first leg. Eastern Conference Championship. The Columbus Crew take a 2-0 win in front of the home fans against the New York Red Bulls. And the Red Bulls are in serious danger after a goal from Justin Meeran, which was the fastest goal from kickoff in MLS history at just 9 seconds. Think about all the stuff you can't do in 9 seconds. And this man scored a goal in a very important playoff game. Then a tap-in goal from Kai Kamara made it 2-0. So New York has to win by 2 goals to force extra time, or 3 goals to advance to the finals. And of course, the second leg is Sunday, a week from now, or a week from Sunday. So be on the lookout, of course. So the 29th is when the second leg is. In the Western Conference side of things, Portland looked absolutely dominant at home with a 3-1 win over FC Dallas. Goals from Liam Ridgewell, Darren Asparilla, and Nate Berchworth put FC Dallas in a do-or-die situation and an uphill battle when the 2 teams play the second leg November 29th. That is your minute. It's a quick one. But still the MLS. How about this? 2 games. And what do you get? You get 6 goals. That's so MLS it hurts. That's what the MLS does. The MLS just pumps out goals. Pumps out goals left and right. And, I've been telling you all season. To get on that. Now, we're good on time. It's going to be a short show, I got a feeling. It is a holiday week, so I know most of y'all might not be working, might be traveling. If you are traveling, go ahead and pop it in. Pop in the podcast, listen to the podcast, get caught up with the podcast, and tell your friends. Share at the dinner table, the Thanksgiving dinner table. Say, hey, what you been doing recently? I've been listening to this awesome podcast. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's also a simulcast. No, it's twice a week. Oh, no, it's good. It's good. You guys are the realest. You guys are future. Oh, you listen to local sports radio? Nah. Tell those guys to hang it up. That's a little Thanksgiving dialogue for you. That's a little icebreaker. You're meeting your girlfriend's stepfather, meeting your girlfriend's dad, brother. Bam, drop that on him. Hey, man, here's a podcast. Boom. All of a sudden, you're best friends. Bam, all of a sudden, he loves you. Welcome to the family. Thanks. Let's go to the winners now after the MLS Minute. Winners. I don't want to be dramatic. I don't want to be over dramatic. I'm not a dramatic guy. But I'm basically God in college football betting right now. In the last 5 weeks, I've given you 15 picks of college football. I give you 3 picks every single week. So in 5 weeks, I am 14-1. Good God Almighty, 14-1. There is no one else on the planet that could do what I'm doing right now. You think someone's 15-0 in the last 5 weeks? Hell no. It's just me. And I'm giving you all these picks for free every single Friday. And then on Monday, we review the picks. So let's review them. Tennessee, Missouri under 42.5. Look, it's the SEC. In the SEC, take the under. I don't care what it is. Take the under. Last week, the SEC was like 6-0 in unders, or 2 weeks ago. This week, I'll have to see what they are. But take the unders. The SEC is awful. Awful. And I will get to that in a minute. Next game, USM minus 21. That's the University of Southern Mississippi, a.k.a. my alma mater. They played Old Dominion. I was at the game. A rare Saturday off for me. I went to the very first game against Mississippi State, and I went to the very last game against Old Dominion. And this last game, we were minus 21, right? We were down 4 going into halftime, and 11 at one. They scored in the second half, so we were either down 11 or down the same when they scored. So it was not looking good. We rattled off like 42 unanswered points. It was the greatest cover ever. We scored so many points so fast in the second half. The crowd was going bananas. I could do multiple podcasts, multiple hours on Southern Miss. And the story, just how they're doing it, how they're doing what they are doing, and it's incredible. Because when I first got to college, we were good. We were winning every game. We were a perennial bowl team. We were winning the bowls. Then Larry Fedora showed up. Larry Fedora was this new brash coach. We had Jeff Bauer, who was an older guy, who was with the program for a long time, kind of conservative. Then we get Fedora, this brash, young guy, throwing the ball all over the place. We get Austin Davis. We had DeAndre Brown, all these pro-caliber players, and they just absolutely went nuts. We were scoring 60 points a game, 70 points a game. We beat like the number 6 undefeated Houston Cougars with Kevin Sumlin as the coach. Case Keenum as the quarterback, who's now playing in the NFL. So, we were smacking teams around. We were going to bowl games and beating all these big-time schools. And then we started Fedora left, and we replaced him with Ellis Johnson. We went winless. Then the next season, we won 1 game. We had 1 win in 2 seasons. And the 1 win was in the last game of the year. So we went basically 2 years without a win. In Conference USA, we were losing to teams like Texas State. We were losing UTEP. Teams like that were destroying us. Then we get Todd Monken from Oklahoma State. Same kind of deal as Fedora, brash guy, wide open offense, and now all of a sudden we're back. He had 3 wins, and then now we're building, and now we're looking at 9 wins. What they're doing in Hattiesburg is incredible. I've been to games during that little stretch where we didn't win a game, where there was maybe 5,000 people, 10,000 people. There was 30,000 people in attendance against Old Dominion, the last game of the year on a pretty cold November night. And it was very impressive, and the come from behind victory was impressive, and covering 22 points was impressive. I'm so proud of Southern Miss. I'm so proud of Todd Monken, and he's an honor, a legend of the podcast. So Todd, keep doing what you're doing. Southern Miss, keep doing what you're doing. But that covered. Then Texas A&M minus 6.5 against Vandy. That was also an awful game. 25-0 was the final. Oops, that's also an under if you're counting score. It's an SEC game, bruv. Take the under. How many times I got to tell you guys? Take unders in SEC games. Only when they're playing each other. I don't mean like Vanderbilt versus Illinois. If 2 SEC teams are playing each other, take the under. It's guaranteed. So that's 3-0 in college football this week. 14-1 in the last 5 weeks. That's honestly, I'm not tooting my own horn. But there's no one on ESPN. There's no one on Fox Sports. There's no one on any sporting agency, company, bookmaker, Las Vegas, anything that has beaten 14-1 in the last 5 weeks. Except me. In the lush, lavish studios here in an undisclosed location in South Mississippi. Now, a little bit of praise, and now we go to the negative side of things. The NFL picks. I am so cold in NFL picks. Honestly, it's awful. It's embarrassing. I almost cut this part out of the show and just acted like we lost the footage or something. My 2 morning plays were Washington and Carolina under a 45. LOL, Carolina put up 44 by themselves, and Cam Newton threw a million touchdown passes. Next was Baltimore minus 2.5 against St. Louis. That covered. Actually, we covered by a half point. Baltimore won by 3, so we got lucky there. Joe Flacco's out for the year. Doesn't really matter. Baltimore sucks, so they'll be in the top 10 area for the next year's draft. It'll be interesting. Next, afternoon game, Tampa Bay and Philly under 45. LOL times 2. Tampa Bay scored 45 points by themselves, and Jameis Winston threw 5 touchdown passes. Egg on my face. And in the night game, Arizona minus 5 against Cincinnati. LOL, they won by 3. So we went 1-3 in the Sunday, and then we'll try and win Monday night, which we have New England minus 7. If we win that, then we'll go 2-3, and we'll kind of sort of salvage things. Still have a winning week overall because the college football has been so good. But NFL picks are killing us. We are not doing well in the NFL picks at all. We're going to talk. We have about 8 minutes left or something. So we're going to rattle off a few topics. Ohio State, pretty crazy what happened. They lost to Michigan State. 14-17, not a good game. J.T. Barrett played bad. Ezekiel Elliott played bad. And then it was pretty crazy because after the game, Ezekiel Elliott, the running back, went crazy on the university and their coaching staff. And he told the media that this was definitely his last year. He said, there's no way in, quote, there's no way in hell I'm coming back. Then he pointed blame at Urban Meyer and said that the coaches didn't put them in the position to win the game. The play calling was bad. They should have ran more power plays. And Elliott basically totally thrashed Urban Meyer. And this is something that really got my attention because this is what happened in Florida. Urban Meyer lost the locker room. He lost his team. And Urban Meyer is a guy who some people love him, some people hate him, who's kind of a win at any cost kind of guy. He's covered up a lot of things. You know, J.T. Barrett got that pseudo DUI thing. You know, he had Aaron Hernandez in Florida. He's had some bad situations. And he seems to cover him up. He seems to do what he has to do to get the players on the field to win. And he's also became and created Ohio State as kind of like a Miami of the early 2000s or a USC kind of feel where the players aren't just players, they're like celebrities, right? Cardell Jones was tweeting with Ronda Rousey, tweeting with celebrities, you know, tweeting with LeBron James. J.T. Barrett, same deal. They were on Sports Illustrated covers. They were Heisman hopefuls. Ezekiel Elliott, same deal. They were all over the place. You know, you heard the J.T. Barrett police cam, the dash cam or whatever. When he was telling the cop, you don't know who the bleep I am. You know, I'm the quarterback for The Ohio State University. You don't know who the bleep I am. And you got to remember, man, these are like 18, 19-year-old kids. You know, max 20, 21 years old. So I just think it's interesting because Urban Meyer has done this pretty much everywhere he's gone, where he's created this kind of celebrity status, right, I guess, and the status, the program, has eaten these kids alive. Besides Tim Tebow, who no situation is too big for Tim Tebow, but if you look at J.T. Barrett and Cardell Jones, these are guys who, Cardell Jones was a guy who, going into the season, was the consensus number 1 overall draft pick. He was tweeting Ronda Rousey. And then he got benched. He's not even playing. He's not even playing for his own team. And he was supposed to be the first overall pick. And he's already said, like, him and Ezekiel Elliott are not coming back to school. So they're both going to the draft. J.T. Barrett had no idea what's going to happen to him. It's kind of weird because I think Ohio State would have been a lot better if they would have just let Braxton Miller be the quarterback. You know, Braxton Miller was that experienced guy, that veteran, the guy who seemed to have everything in order, who seemed to have everything kind of figured out. The Ohio State's leading quarterback in every like statistical category. And I think what happened was Cardell Jones and JT Barrett got a little too big for their britches. And it's really interesting because as good of a coach as Urban Meyer might be, he seems to be a guy who always gets his team in these moral trouble situations where I don't know. Like, it's just not. It's something you don't see from a lot of great coaches. It's almost like he wants this in a way. He wants this firestorm. He wants this over the top personality for his team and his players, but it's just bit him in the ass at Florida and now at Ohio State. And for a team that had that much talent, and the season's not over. Okay, the season's not over. There's virtually no chance that they get into the playoffs, but still a one-loss team, has lost one game in 2 seasons, has a ton of talent. Granted, he's losing a ton of talent if Elliott leaves and Cardell Jones leaves and all these other players leave, Braxton Miller leaves, but it's just something to think about with Urban Meyer, something to think about with these colleges, and you see it in college basketball a lot. You see people like Drake or people, big celebs around these programs, and you see with social media, the athletes can tweet. And you saw it with Johnny Manziel. They can tweet supermodels, they can tweet other celebrities, or they can tweet these people. And the first time you ever saw it was like with Matt Leinart at USC. He was all of a sudden dating Paris Hilton and all this other stuff going on, and it just kind of eats these kids alive. And you got to remember how young these guys are. Think about when you were in college, or if you're in college now listening. Think about if you were tweeting Drake or tweeting Ariana Grande or just some random celebrity. It's like I'm sitting in Sociology 102 and I'm tweeting Drake. Like, why do I give a damn about practice? Coaches tell me to run sprints. I'm getting paid, baby. They're saying I'm the first overall draft pick. All I got to do is get through this year. And I think that's something that not a lot of people are talking about is social media and how it plays with these athletes. And I don't think it'd be an awful idea if athletes couldn't use Twitter. Couldn't use Twitter, couldn't use Facebook. You can make a serious case that social media did its best to derail Johnny Manziel's career. All the pictures, the Instagram posts, the money sign, everyone doing the money sign, him being locked up with Drake or whatever, him being flown to Canada, him partying with all these people. That lifestyle will eat a 21, 22-year-old up. $10 all you can drink eats these kids up. All right, if you've never been in college, trust me. I was in college and I didn't shy away from any parties. And I could barely handle 10-cent liquor. 25-cent liquor killed me. I can't imagine if Kylie Jenner was Snapchatting me. If I'm sitting in Columbus, Ohio, at Ohio State at some random bar that the college people go to, and it's $10 all you can drink, and I'm the Ohio State quarterback, I'm Cardell Jones, I'm tweeting Ronda Rousey, I'm Snapchatting Kylie Jenner, the last thing I'm going to give a damn about is number 1, my grades and my classes, and number 2, practice, and number 3, playing in Purdue. What do I care about playing in Illinois when I'm about to be in the league, hanging out with supermodels, and getting paid? I think that the social media thing is like these athletes and these people dipping their feet in the water. It's like, ooh, that's kind of nice. Ooh, I like being a celebrity. Ooh, I like talking to celebrities. I'm not a celebrity. I don't have money or cars or clothes or a contract or a future. But I kind of see that good life. Oh, okay, Drake. I'm talking to Drake. I'm dipping my toes in there. Something to think about with these athletes. It's something to think about with these people. These kids using social media in that sense and seeing the criticism. You got to think, if you're Cardell Jones and you lose a game, he probably, I have no idea, but he probably has hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers. And imagine if you're 20 years old, 21 years old, and you lose a game, and all on campus, all on your phone, people are just blowing you up, negative or positive. That kind of stuff really can affect somebody. Might need to think about the future limiting these kids' access to social media. But that is about it for this show. I'm slowly running out of time. I had 2 more takes, actually. Man, we got to get this show longer, guys. Keep rating and reviewing the show on Stitcher and iTunes. Keep sharing the show. And the more support and the more that stuff we have, the better chance we'll have of having the resources to expand to more days of the week or a longer show. So we had more topics. We kind of ran out of time a little bit. Monday's a packed show because we do winners and we do the top 5. But I wanted to talk about Golden State. I wanted to talk about Steph Curry. And I also wanted to talk about how abysmal the SEC is this year. But we will get to that in another day, maybe Friday, a post-Thanksgiving show, or maybe even next week. I do not know. But if you want to hear what I have to say, go ahead and shoot me a tweet or go to my website or whatever. And gladly will talk to you about it. Gladly will tell you how much I think the SEC sucks. Now I think that they are officially as overrated of a conference as you can be in college football, and how a disaster they are. And also, just how good is Steph Curry? Is it time to put him in the same breath as Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Larry Birds, Magic Johnsons? When do we pull the trigger on that? But anyways, enjoy your holiday, guys. Enjoy your holiday. You will hear from me tomorrow night, Tuesday night, at the James Skrmetta Experience, and then it is Thanksgiving, and then I will talk to you all on Friday. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy your families. Enjoy all the stuff you do, the turkey, the gravy, the dressing. Don't forget, a little pro tip, nothing is bad with gravy. Guys, this has been another episode of Out of Bounds. I am your host, James Skrmetta. Have a fantastic rest of your week, a short week, and enjoy your holiday, guys. Thanks again.